Let's start by taking a look at this graph paper that we have here, or this different kind of graph paper. You can see the grid lines. You know that we have a y-axis, and in our y-axis here is outside temperature, and we also have the x-axis, and this is date or day. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we put our dates in here. The date itself is going to be located, or the number of the day is going to be located at the center of each of these columns. So we're going to write the numbers there at the center of each column. Please do that along with me if this is not already done on your sheet. So notice I'm putting these at the center of each of the columns. And I'm going to go all the way up. This is the month of February. I'm going to put a 2 and a slash in the front to represent the month of February. And I'm going to continue now with these days. And then I'm going to go 4 days into March. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You may not see that from your perspective, but we'll end with the 4 days of March. So that takes care of the x-axis. Now let's move to the y-axis. We know these are degrees in Celsius. So the numbers may look a little strange to you. These don't look like our normal Fahrenheit degrees. So, and I want you to notice that they go in two different directions. We go into the minus or negative numbers, and then we also go into the positive numbers. Now for each of these numbers, their location is going to be right on the line below the number. So I'm going to extend this line out for each of these. Please do that too. I'm going to extend each of those lines out just to remind myself that the number represented here is located at that line. Okay. So there, our graph is just about set up. I will put my name up here. And you do the same. And then also circle the color of your class up in the top right. Okay, so now we're ready to begin graphing. So I'm going to take out my graph sheet, my data sheet, excuse me. Oh, I have it over here. I'm going to take out my data sheet. So let's just take a moment to look at our data table. It's called the data table, the weather log data table. And we can see here are the numbers of the days of the month, and in this case it's February. All right, and we also have some other important information. We have wind speed, wind direction, the sky, which is what's happening in the sky that day, the high temperature for the day, now these are all averages, the low temperature for the day, and the barometric pressure in millibars. Now we're going to graph, in this session, we're going to graph the high and low temperatures only. We're going to insert that data into those places. And we're going to do these with horizontal lines. So I'm going to put this over here so I can look at it, and you can see it too. And I'll be scooting it up every once in a while. So you should have your graph out as well if you don't already, so that you can look at this data. Now I'm going to take the first day, on the 1st of February, the high temperature was 8 degrees, and the low temperature was -2 degrees. So let's take a look and see where we can find this on our graph. So if we look, here is the number 0, and here is 5, and here is 10. So I know that 8 is closer to 10 than it is to 5. And so I'm going to put a mark right here, just below the 10, about 2/3 of the way up or so. Make it nice and neat, and make a nice dark line right there. So it's closer to 10 than it is to 5. Now on the same day we had a low temperature of -2. So I'm going to place, now we know that -2 is closer to 0 than it is to 5. So I'm going to place it just about there. Okay, and so now I have our first column with our high and low temperature. We've completed the temperature data for the 1st of February. Let's go on and do a few more days, and then it'll be up to you when we're through to do the rest of them on your own. So let's do this. All right, so we'll go to the 2nd of February, and we see that the high temperature is 2 and the low temperature is -12. So let's see, I know that 2 is closer to 0 than it is to 5, and so I'm going to place it right there. And I know that, let's see, -12, well, I know that 12 is closer to 10 than it is to 15. So I'm going to place that there. Okay, another 2 dark lines showing our high and our low temperature for the 2nd of February. Let's go on to February 3rd. Okay, so here we go. We know that 3 is closer to 5, so I'll put that there. And that's -3, -3. So notice it's below the 0, it's in the negative range. And I know that 14, if we go up to here, is closer to 15, but it's very close. So I'm going to make it a little bit, let's see, oh, excuse me. Oh, that's right. I have to notice that it's a -14, not a 14. So let's go down. Same rule. We know that it is closer to 15 than it is to 10, but it's very close. So let's place it right there. Okay. So you can see we have our -3 and our -14 for the 3rd of February. Let's go to the 4th of February. Now we see it's +6 and -5. So +6 we know is closer to 5 than it is to 10. So I'm going to place my line there. And let's see. And -5, well, I'm going to put it right on the -5 line. Just make that line a little wider so it stands out. Now we'll go to the 5th of February, and that is, let's see, +5 and -6. So let's see, +5, widen that line, and -6. That would go right here. We know that -6 is closer to -5 than it is to -10, right? Okay. There's our high and low for February 5th. Let's move on now to February 6th. Okay, so here we know that 6 is closer to 5, and it's let's see, the 6th, I'm sorry, the 6th. We have 2 numbers, -1 and -7. So let's take a look. We know that -1 closer to 0, and then -7, double checking my number there, is closer to 5, but it's a little further down than 6 would be, so make that a nice dark line. Okay, that is February 6th. Make sure you make them nice and dark now, and straight. Okay, let's go to February 7th, and we have +1 and -10. So let's put our +1 here, closer to 0, and our -10 is going to be right on that -10 line, but we're going to widen the line a little bit, just to make it very visible. Okay, now we're going to go to February 8th, and we can see it's -1 and -9 on that day. So I'm going to put -1 right there, closer to 0, and -9. I guess it was very cold, huh? Okay, and we're going to go to the 9th, and we have -2 and -10. So let's place -2. Now we know it's a little further down than -1. See, there's the -1 there from the previous day. And -10. We're going to widen that line. Okay. Make them nice and dark. Okay, we'll go to the 10th. I'm going to move everything up a little bit for you so that you can see my graph here. And I'm going to move it over just a little bit because we're heading into some other territory here. Okay, so 10 is going to be 11 on that day. The 10th, it was 11. See, here's the, let me put that back again. Here's the 10th, 10 degrees, and here's 11 just above it. So I'm going to put it right there. And then -3, I'm going to go down. We know it's closer to -5. So we'll put it right there, closer to -5. Okay. Let's go now to to the 11th. And on the 11th it was 8 and +8 and +2. So let's put a 2 right here, closer to the 0, and 8 we know will be closer to 10. So we'll put that right on this side. Okay. Now let's go to the 12th, which was 7 and -2. So let's go to +7 right here. And on that day it went down to -2. Okay. Now let's go to the 13th, and that would be 0 and -17. Oh, very cold day. So on the 13th, we thicken that line, and we go down to -17. We know 17 is closer to 15 than it is to 20, so we're going to put that there. Oh, that was the coldest one so far. Okay, on the 14th, oh, Valentine's Day, that would be 9 degrees positive, just closer to 10 now. See, there's 10, there's 9, and -3. We know -3 is closer to -5, so we'll put that there. Okay, so we're almost halfway through. Well, actually exactly halfway through the month of February here. Why don't you take some time and do the rest of them on your own. You can always back up to check some of the ones that you've done so far. You can back up on this video and see if you got them in the right spots. But finish it off, and while I'm finishing it off here, and then I'll see you on the next video.